Alrighty, folks, we're now 3-0 in our last three board member plays on my premium page. We had the Cubs minus $1.15 on Saturday, and they took care of Arizona by the final of 6-2. And the good news is I've got another board member play going off here for Sunday. That play's already posted and ready for access in the post section. I'm also 2-0 my last two NBA tier membership plays, 2-0 my last two Major League Baseball tier membership plays as well. Of course, if you want to access all of my premium selections, you may want to think about signing up for my Gold Club membership. It's a full access, all-inclusive membership, gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. And before we go ahead and move on, just want to take a quick timeout and welcome you to my free pick video here today for Sunday, April 20th, 2025. Happy Easter Sunday to you. Of course, if you're joining me for the first time here today, my name is Brock Page. I've been dishing out free sports picks on YouTube since 2016. And listen, real quick, if you don't need access to all of my premium plays, but maybe you could use like one a day, my daily best play costs just 6 cents a day for 30 days worth of access. I currently have over 2,365 members who are signed up and active on my premium page right now. With that, folks, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to start off in the NBA playoffs. Grizzlies, Thunder, 1 o'clock Eastern tip-off. Oklahoma City's minus 13.5, totals 229. And even though OKC's been dominant against Memphis in recent gatherings, they have sent their fair share of shooters to the foul line this year. OKC is 24th in free throws allowed per game. And they're facing a Memphis squad who makes more free throws a game than any other team besides one. Of course, when it comes to defensive play, the Grizzlies are 4th in defensive field goal percentage, 3rd in blocks. Now, Memphis saw unders recently against Denver, Charlotte, and Detroit. They also saw 9 out of their last 10 meetings with OKC stay under the line. So if you're into historical trends, plenty of unders to go around. Of course, when it comes to OKC, they saw unders recently with the Pelicans and Pistons. I like Memphis plus 13.5, under 229. Next game, Magic Celtics, 3:30 p.m. East. Boston's minus 13.5, totals 206. Boston's 40 games above 500, 28-13 in the Garden. They're allowing just 107 points a game on defense, 2nd in defensive field goal percentage. They're also sending fewer shooters to the foul line than any other team. They're facing an Orlando squad who's averaging just 105 points a night, dead last in shooting the three ball. They're making just 11 three-pointers a game, 31% shooting from beyond the arc. I like the Celtics, minus 13.5. Next matchup, Heat, Cavaliers, 7 o'clock East. Cleveland's minus 12.5, totals 215. And listen, for such a big, number here in this spot, the Cavs have failed to cover in 6 out of their last 10. They're in the bottom 5 in defensive blocks. And they're facing a Miami squad who covered in 7 out of their last 10 themselves. Doing a nice job on the defensive end of the floor. Miami allows just 109 points a game, rarely sends shooters to the foul line. They're actually allowing fewer free throws a game than any other team besides one. The Heat also saw unders recently against Chicago and Memphis. Meanwhile, Cleveland games went 5-2 to the under in their last 7. I like the Heat plus 12.5, under 215. Next contest, Warriors-Rockets, 9:30 p.m. East. Houston's minus 1, totals 212.5. And we are looking at two very tough teams defensively. The Rockets are 2nd in the league in defensive boards, 1st in the Western Conference in 3 balls allowed. Houston's held their competition to just a dozen three-pointers per game. They're facing a Golden State squad who's 8th in points allowed themselves, 5th in defensive turnovers. Warrior games went 4-3 to the under in their last 7, 7-3 to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Rockets. So once again, if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. I like the under 212.5. All right, Major League Baseball, White Sox, Red Sox, 135 Eastern first pitch. Boston's minus 280, totals 9. Tanner Houck for the Bo Sox, Sean Burke for Chicago. As bad as the White Sox have been, they've cashed in on the run line in 50% of their games this year. They're facing a Boston team who's covering in just 33% of their contests at Fenway Park. Of course, on the mound, 0-2 Tanner Houck currently has an ERA of 9.16. No real surprise, this Boston pitching staff's in the bottom 10 in runs allowed per game. Now, Bo Sox contests have gone 5-4 to the over at Fenway. Give me the White Sox plus 1.5, over 9. Next game, Reds, Orioles, 135 East. Baltimore's minus $1.60, totals 9.5. Charlie Morton for the O's. Looks like Randy Wynn's making his debut for the Reds. Wynn had a 3.06 ERA through 4 starts with the Louisville Bats. And this Cincy pitching staff has been tough to hit against this season. They're allowing fewer hits per 9 than any other team. They're facing a Baltimore squad who failed to cash in on the run line in 6 out of their last 10. They're also covering in just 40% of their ball games at Camden Yards. They've got 0-4 Charlie Morton on the mound, double-digit walks already, ERA of 8.84. And oddly enough, 3 out of Baltimore's last 5 interleague contests did stay under the number. I like the Reds plus 1.5, under 9.5. All right, next matchup, Guardians, Pirates, 135 East. Pittsburgh's minus $1.20, totals 8. Mitch Keller for the Pirates, Logan Allen for Cleveland. Allen's got an ERA of 2.30. Cleveland with wins in 7 out of their last 10. And he's going to face a 1-2 Mitch Keller, who's got himself an ERA of 4.30. This Bucs pitching staff is currently in the bottom 10 in strikeouts per 9. When it comes to the number, 4 out of Cleveland's last 5 road games did get over the total. 60% to the over in their last 10 at any location. I like the Guardians plus $1, over 8. Next matchup, Marlins, Phillies, 135 East. Philadelphia's minus 310, totals 8.5. Jesus Luzardo for the Titans, Connor Gillespie for Miami. Now Gillespie's 0-2 with an ERA of 6.63. Of course, this Miami pitching staff's now in the bottom 3 in runs allowed per game. They're facing a Philly team who's now 9-3 at the bank this year, leads the league in strikeouts on the mound. And starting pitcher Jesus Luzardo has been no exception to that. He's got 29 strikeouts and a 1.07 whip. The lefty's also 2-0 with an ERA in the low 2s. Give me the Titans minus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. All right, next game, Twins, Braves, 135 East. Atlanta's minus $1.20, total 7.5. Grant Holmes for Atlanta, Joe Ryan for Minnesota. Now Ryan's got a 2.45 ERA, 0.77 whip. 7 out of Minnesota's last 10 ball games also stayed under the total. And they're going to face Grant Holmes, who's looked good in a few outings. 3.78 ERA, 1.14 whip. Atlanta saw unders in 3 out of their last 4 at home. I like the under 7.5. Next contest, Mariners, Blue Jays, 137 East. Seattle's minus $1.20, totals 8.5. Luis Castillo for the M's, Easton Lucas for Toronto. Now Lucas is 2-1 with a 1.11 whip. Toronto also got the W in 4 out of their last 6. They're currently in the top 10 in hits per game. George Springer bats .351 with an OPS of .977. And Bo Bichette's hitting .308 with a dozen RBI. They're going to face a 1-2 Luis Castillo, who's got an ERA in the 4s, 1.41 whip. And the Seattle pitching staff's now in the bottom 10 in hits allowed per game. Give me the Blue Jays plus $1. Next contest, Royals, Tigers, 140 Eastern first pitch. Detroit's minus 210, total 7. Tarek Skubal for the Tigers, Michael Wacha for Kansas City. Now Wacha's 0-3 with an ERA in the 4s. As a team, KC's on a 6-game skid, and they've been brutal at the plate. The Royals are in the bottom 3 in hits per game, second to last in runs. They got to face Tarek Skubal, who struck out 25 batters, 1.01 whip. And this Detroit pitching staff is in the top 3 and fewest runs allowed per game. Now, both teams with unders in 7 out of their last 10, respectively. I like the Tigers -1.5, under 7. Next game, Yankees-Rays, 1:40 p.m. East. The Yankees are -145, totals 8.5. Max Fried for New York, Ryan Pepio for Tampa Bay. Pepio's 1-2 with an ERA close to 5. Now, the Rays have also dropped 4 out of their last 5 ball games, and they've had some control issues on the mound, in the bottom 10 in walks per game. And they're facing a top 3 run-producing lineup in the Yankees, top 5 in walks. Aaron Judge is batting .397, OPS of .1236. And Trent Grisham's batting .326 with an OPS in the thousands himself. But even if for some reason the Bombers struggle at the plate, they've got a real good one in Max Fried on the bump. 3-0 record on the year, ERA of 1.88. Yankee games did go 60% to the over in their last 10. Tampa Bay 8-2 to the over in their last 10 themselves. I like the Yankees -145, over 8.5. Next matchup, Cardinals-Mets, 1:40 p.m. East. The Mets are -140, total 7.5. Clay Holmes for New York, Sonny Gray for St. Louis. The Cards have lost 3 straight to the Mets, and the bats have gone ice cold over the past 5 games. St. Louis scored just 9 total runs during that time frame. They're facing a Mets pitching staff who's been very tough to hit against. They're allowing fewer runs per contest than any other team. Starting pitcher Clay Holmes has 28 strikeouts on the year, ERA of 3.66. And at the plate, Pete Alonso's hitting .356 with an OPS in the 1200s. Despite Juan Soto's struggles, he still has an on-base percentage in the high 300s. Still walking a bunch. Give me the Mets -140, over 7.5. Next matchup, Athletics-Brewers, 2:10 Eastern start. Both teams are -110, totals 8. Logan Henderson making his debut for Milwaukee. Jeffrey Springs for the A's. Springs has an ERA of 4.50, 1.40 whip. And this A's pitching staff now finds themselves in the bottom 5 in hits allowed per game. That's good news for Milwaukee fans because this is a lineup who's nearly in the top 5 in runs per game. Sal Frelick hits .319, on-base percentage of .410. And Jackson Chourio has a handful of homers, club leader in RBI. Now, starting pitcher Logan Henderson struck out 24 batters through 3 starts with AAA Nashville this season. I like the Brewers -110, over 8. Next matchup, Diamondbacks-Cubs, 2:20 Eastern start. The Cubs are -130, total 7.5. Jameson Taillon for Chicago, Merrill Kelly for Arizona. And both pitchers with ERAs in the 5s, going against powerful lineups on Sunday. These teams are both number 1 and 2 in runs per game. Corbin Carroll's hitting .341 for the D-backs, 7 homers, and an OPS of 1096. Geraldo Perdomo's got 19 ribbies on the year, .413 on-base percentage. The D-backs saw overs in 6 out of their last 10 ball games. Meanwhile, Chicago saw their last 4 at Wrigley all get over the total themselves. Kyle Tucker's got an OPS in the thousands, club leader in RBI. And Michael Busch, he's hitting .316 with an OPS just about in the thousands himself. I like the over 7.5. Next game, Dodgers-Rangers, 2:35 East. The Dodgers are -150, totals 8.5. Tyler Glasnow for Los Angeles, Tyler Mahle for Texas. And even though Maley's had some dynamic stuff this year, the Rangers just haven't been good enough at the dish. They're in the bottom 5 in runs per game, dead last in walks. They're facing Tyler Glasnow, who's punched out 17 in just 13 innings of work. These Dodger pitchers are in the top 5 in strikeouts. Now, 6 out of the Dodgers' last 10 outings fell under the total. Meanwhile, the Rangers saw all their home games this year stay under the total except for 1. Give me the Dodgers -150, under 8.5. Next game, Nationals-Rockies, game 1. That'll be a 3:10 Eastern start. Washington is minus $1.20 in game one. Totals 8.5. Jake Irvin for the Nats. Kyle Freeland for Colorado. Despite an 0-3 record, the lefty Freeland does have a respectable 1.21 whip. And I'll tell you, the bats have come alive a bit for the struggling Rockies. They scored 18 runs in their last two outings. They're going to face a Washington team who's just 3-8 on the road this year, struggling a bit at the dish. Washington is a bottom 10 hit producing team. Now, Washington road games have gone 6-5 to the under this year. Colorado 12-7 to the under for the entire year. Give me the Rockies plus $1 under 10.5 in game one. Next matchup, Giants Angels 407 East. San Francisco's minus $1.15. Totals 8.5. Justin Verlander for the Giants. Yusei Kikuchi for Los Angeles. Now, the Coochman's 0-3 to start the year. ERA in the 4s. As a team, the Angels dropped 4 out of their last 5. All kinds of problems at the plate. The Angels scored just 9 total runs during that 5-game stretch. They got to face a Giants pitching staff who's in the top 5 in strikeouts, top 5 in fewest hits allowed. Though oddly enough, 8 out of the Giants' last 10 ball games did get over the total. 73% to the over in all of their away games. I like the Giants minus $1.15, over 8.5. Next matchup, Padres-Astros, 7:10 Eastern start. Houston's minus $1.30, total 7.5. Framber Valdez for Houston, Dylan Cease for San Diego. And the Pods have certainly had little problems getting base runners this year. They're in the top 3 in hits per game, winners of 6 out of their last 9. Fernando Tatis has 7 homers, 15 RBI, OPS in the thousands. Gavin Sheets is hitting .340 with an OPS in the 900s himself. And they're going to face a 1-2 Framber Valdez, who has an ERA dangerously close to 5. Of course, at the dish, the Astros just haven't been good enough. They're in the bottom 5 in hits per game. Now, the Pods saw unders in 6 out of their last 10. Houston games went 60% to the under for the entire year. I like the Padres plus $1.10, under 7.5. Next and final breakdown for the video, Nats-Rockies Game 2. That'll be an 8:10 Eastern first pitch. Washington's minus $1.35, totals 10.5. Brad Lord for Washington, Antonio Senzatella for Colorado. Antonio's 0-3 with an ERA close to 6. He also has a horrible whip of 2.18. And even though we took the Rockies in Game 1, they are certainly, I don't think they're good enough to sweep the doubleheader. They did lose their last 7 straight. And listen, their pitching staff is currently the worst in the game. They're giving up more runs per contest than any other organization, dead last in strikeouts. They're facing a Washington lineup who doesn't strike out much themselves. They put up 12 runs in a win against Colorado on Saturday. James Wood has 7 home runs, 17 RBI, OPS of .930. And Nate Lowe has 16 RBI himself, on-base percentage of .350. The Washington games went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. 5 out of Colorado's last 7 at Coors Field got over the total themselves. I like the Nationals minus 135, over 10.5 in Game 2. And with that, folks, now it's time for our quick pick recap. NBA, Memphis plus 13.5, under 229. Celtics minus 13.5. Miami plus 12.5, under 215. Give me the under 212.5 in that Warriors-Rockets game. Baseball, White Sox plus 1.5, over 9. Reds plus 1.5, under 9.5 runs. Guardians plus $1, over 8. Phillies minus 1.5, under 8.5 runs. Give me the under 7.5 in that Twins-Braves game. Toronto plus $1, getting the job done against Seattle. Tigers minus 1.5, under 7. Yankees minus 145, over 8.5. Mets minus $1.40, over 7.5. Brewers minus $1.10, over 8. I like the over 7.5 in that Diamondbacks-Cubs game. Dodgers minus $1.50, under 8.5. Rockies plus $1, under 10.5 in Game 1. Giants minus $1.15, over 8.5. Padres plus $1.10, under 7.5 runs. Give me the Nationals minus 135, over 10.5 in Game 2. Hockey, Devils plus 1.5, under 5.5 goals. Give me the under 5.5 in that Senators Maple Leafs game. Give me the Wild plus 1.5, under 5.5 goals. And with that, folks, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on my premium page. And if you do end up getting a membership here today on my premium site, just a friendly reminder, you're going to get access to that membership every single day for the next 30 days. And as an added bonus, you're also going to get access to all of my cheaper memberships during that time frame, absolutely free. Going to be included with your membership. That's why I always tell folks, that Gold Club membership, it's a full access, all-inclusive package. Gives you access to every single premium selection of mine, every single package, every single day for the next 30 days. But most importantly, folks, gotta thank you for joining me right here on the free video. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Well, that's it, folks. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Easter to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my premium page.